The night shift was always quiet at the Stellar Academy of Drakthor. Marcus Webb pushed his cleaning cart down the empty hallways, the wheels making soft squeaking sounds on the polished floors. He was tired. His body ached from hours of mopping and scrubbing, but he needed this job. Back on Earth, his daughter Emily needed medicine. The bills were too high. This job, cleaning toilets and floors for alien students, was the only way he could help her. Marcus was 47 years old. His hair was turning gray. His hands had calluses from years of hard work. He was human, and in this galaxy, being human did not mean much. Humans were called the soft species. They were weak. They lived short lives. They had no special powers. Most aliens looked down on them. The dragons especially. The Drakthor were powerful, ancient, and proud. They ruled many star systems. They could speak with their minds. They lived for thousands of years. Next to them, humans were like insects. But Marcus did not complain. He did his work quietly. He stayed out of everyone's way. The students never noticed him. To them, he was just the janitor. Just another human doing a simple job. That was fine with Marcus. He did not want attention. He just wanted to finish his shift and video call Emily before she went to sleep. It was 3 in the morning when Marcus entered the observation gardens. This was his favorite place to clean. The gardens had plants from 100 different worlds. Strange flowers that glowed in the dark, trees with silver leaves, grass that felt like silk under his feet. Through the glass ceiling, he could see the stars. Real stars, not like the ones on Earth. Out here in space, they were so bright and close. Sometimes Marcus would stop his work just to look at them. He was emptying a trash bin when he heard a sound. It was soft, like someone trying not to cry. Marcus stopped. He listened carefully. The sound came from behind the stellar ferns, big plants with purple leaves that sparkled like stars. Marcus walked slowly toward the sound. He pushed aside some leaves and stopped. There, hiding in the shadows, was a small dragon. The dragon was not very big, about the size of a large dog. His scales were dark blue with silver patterns. His eyes were golden, but they looked sad, very sad. The little dragon saw Marcus and froze. He looked scared. Marcus knew he should walk away. He was not supposed to talk to students. It was against the rules. If anyone found out, he could lose his job. But the little dragon looked so alone, so hurt. Marcus sat down slowly on the ground. He did not want to scare the dragon. He reached into his pocket and pulled out his sandwich. It was just peanut butter and bread, nothing special. He broke it in half and held out one piece toward the little dragon. The dragon looked at the sandwich. Then he looked at Marcus. His golden eyes were full of questions. Why was this human being nice? Why was he not walking away? For a long moment, nothing happened. Then, very slowly, the little dragon moved forward. He sniffed the sandwich. His small claws reached out and took it. He ate it quickly, like he was very hungry. Marcus smiled. He ate his own half of the sandwich and did not say anything. Sometimes words were not needed. Sometimes just sitting with someone was enough. After the sandwich was gone, the little dragon did something strange. He made a sound with his claw on the ground. A scraping sound. Marcus looked down. The dragon had drawn a symbol in the dirt. It looked like a star with a circle around it. Marcus did not know what it meant, but he understood that the dragon was trying to talk to him. The dragon could not speak. That was why he was hiding. That was why he was alone. Marcus had heard the other janitors talking. There was a young dragon at the academy who could not speak. Not with his voice and not with his mind. In dragon society, this was a terrible thing. Dragons talked with telepathy. It was how they connected with each other. A dragon who could not do this was seen as broken, damaged, wrong. The other dragons would not play with him. They called him names. They made fun of him. This little dragon was that child. Marcus felt his chest get tight. This little dragon reminded him of Emily. When Emily was young, she could not hear. The other children were mean to her. They did not understand. They left her out of games. They whispered about her. Emily would come home crying, and Marcus would hold her and tell her she was perfect just the way she was. But back then, he could not fix the problem. He could only love her. Looking at this small dragon now, Marcus made a decision. He pointed to himself. Then he made a simple hand sign. It was sign language, the kind Emily used. He pointed to himself again and signed the word for friend. The dragon tilted his head. He watched Marcus's hands carefully. Marcus did it again, slower this time. Friend. The dragon's eyes grew wider. He made a small chirping sound. Not words, but something. A sound of hope. Marcus checked his watch. He had to finish cleaning. But he looked at the little dragon and made a promise to himself. He would come back tomorrow night. He would bring more food. And maybe, just maybe, he could teach this little dragon a new way to talk. Marcus stood up slowly. He made the sign for goodbye. The dragon watched him leave, and for the first time in a long time, the little dragon's eyes did not look quite so sad. What Marcus did not know was that someone else was watching too. High above the gardens in the security control room, a screen showed everything. On that screen, a tall dragon with silver scales watched the human janitor walk away. Her name was Matriarch Valkyra. She was the supreme commander of the Third Fleet. She ruled millions of soldiers. She controlled entire planets. And the little dragon hiding in the gardens was her son, her youngest child. Her Zixthar Valkyra had been watching the gardens every night for weeks. She knew her son went there to hide. She knew he was in pain. But she did not know how to help him. Nothing had worked. The best doctors could not fix him. The wisest telepaths could not reach his mind. She had begun to lose hope. But tonight she saw something different. She saw a human, a simple janitor, sit down with her son, share his food, make him smile. It was such a small thing, but it was the first time in months that Zix had looked happy. Valkyra leaned closer to the screen. She watched the human make strange movements with his hands. She watched her son pay attention. Really pay attention. What was this human doing? What was he saying? And why did Zix look so interested? Valkyra pressed a button and saved the video. She would watch this again. She would watch it many times. Because something had just happened. Something important, and she needed to understand what it was. Marcus came back the next night, and the night after that, and the night after that. Every time he cleaned the observation gardens, the little dragon was waiting for him. They had a routine now. Marcus would bring food from the cafeteria. Sometimes it was fruit, sometimes it was bread. Once he brought cookies, and the little dragon's eyes lit up like stars. They would sit together in the quiet darkness and share the food. But food was not the only thing Marcus brought. He brought something more important. He brought his hands. Every night, Marcus taught the little dragon new signs. Simple ones at first: yes, no, happy, sad, thank you. The dragon learned quickly, very quickly. His golden eyes would focus on Marcus's hands like they were the most important thing in the universe. When he learned a new sign, he would make that small chirping sound. It was his way of saying he understood. Marcus learned things too. He learned that the dragon's name was Zixthar, though Marcus just called him Zix. It was easier to say. He learned that Zix was the youngest of 5 brothers. The other 4 were all big and strong. They could all speak perfectly with telepathy. They were everything a dragon should be, and Zix was everything a dragon should not be. Small, quiet, broken. At least that is what everyone told him. One night, Marcus brought a tablet computer. It was old and scratched, but it still worked. He showed Zix pictures of Earth, pictures of oceans and mountains, pictures of cities with tall buildings, pictures of animals like elephants and whales. Zix watched everything with wonder. He had never seen Earth before. To him it looked beautiful. Strange, but beautiful. Marcus showed him one more picture. A young woman with brown hair and kind eyes. Emily, his daughter. Marcus signed to Zix. This is my daughter. She is like you. She was born different. Other children were mean to her. But she learned to talk in her own way. She learned sign language. Now she is strong. Now she is happy. You can be strong and happy too. Zix looked at the picture for a long time. Then he looked at Marcus. He made the sign for friend. Then he made the sign for thank you. Marcus felt tears in his eyes, but he smiled. As the weeks passed, something changed in Zix. He stood a little taller. His eyes were brighter. He started helping Marcus clean. He would pick up trash with his small claws and put it in the bin. He would use his tail to sweep the paths. Marcus would laugh and tell him he was doing a good job. Zix would make his chirping sound. They made a good team, the human janitor and the little dragon who could not speak. Marcus told Zix stories. Stories about Earth, stories about humans. He told him about people who were told they would never walk, but they learned to run. People who were told they would never read, but they wrote books. People who were told they were not smart enough, but they became scientists. He told Zix that the world was full of late bloomers, people who found their path in their own time, in their own way. Zix listened to every word. His mind was sharp. He understood more than anyone knew. He just could not tell them. The telepathy that all dragons used was like a door that would not open for him. The words he wanted to say got stuck inside his head. It hurt, it made him feel alone. But with Marcus, he did not feel alone. With Marcus, he had a different door. A door made of hands and signs and understanding. But not everyone was happy about their friendship. Marcus's supervisor was a tall alien from Centauri. His name was Krelvax, and he did not like humans very much. He thought they were lazy and stupid. He watched Marcus carefully every night. He noticed that Marcus was taking longer to clean the gardens. He noticed that Marcus was using more supplies. He started to ask questions. One night, Krelvax followed Marcus to the gardens. He hid behind the trees and watched. He saw Marcus sit with the small dragon. He saw them share food. He saw Marcus make those strange hand movements. Krelvax did not understand what was happening, but he knew it was against the rules. Workers were not supposed to talk to students. They were not supposed to be friends with them. This human was breaking the rules, and Krelvax was going to report him. But before Krelvax could leave, something else happened. 3 large dragons flew into the gardens. They were older students. They saw Zix sitting with Marcus and started to laugh. "Look at the little mute," one of them said in telepathy. "He has to play with a human now. Even other dragons will not be his friend." Another one said, "Maybe the human is mute too. That is why they get along. They both cannot talk." The 3 dragons laughed harder. Zix's body went stiff. His golden eyes filled with hurt. Marcus stood up. His face was angry. He stepped between Zix and the 3 dragons. "Leave him alone," Marcus said. His voice was quiet but firm. The 3 dragons looked surprised. A human was talking back to them. A human janitor. It was funny to them. One of them leaned down close to Marcus. "Or what, human? What will you do?" "You are nothing. He is nothing. You are both nothing." Marcus did not move. He looked the dragon in the eye. "Being different does not mean being nothing," Marcus said. "My daughter could not hear, but she changed the world for everyone around her. This young one cannot use telepathy, but he is smarter and kinder than you will ever be. You think power makes you important, but kindness makes you important. Understanding makes you important, and you have neither." The garden went silent. Even the 3 bullies did not know what to say. A human had just talked back to them. A weak, soft human had stood up for a dragon. It did not make sense. They flew away, confused and angry. Marcus sat back down. His hands were shaking. He had probably just made everything worse, but he could not help it. He could not watch someone hurt Zix. Zix looked at Marcus with wide eyes. Then slowly he moved closer. He put his small head against Marcus's shoulder. It was a dragon gesture, a sign of trust and love. Marcus put his hand on Zix's head and rubbed the scales gently. "It is okay," Marcus signed with one hand. "I am here, you are not alone." Zix made that chirping sound again, but this time it was different. This time it sounded almost like a word. Krelvax, still hiding in the shadows, watched all of this. He had come to report Marcus. He had come to get the human fired. But something made him stop. He saw the way the little dragon trusted Marcus. He saw the way Marcus protected him. He saw real friendship, something pure. Krelvax had not seen anything like that in a long time. He turned and walked away quietly. He would not report Marcus. Not tonight. Maybe not ever. High above in the security room, Valkyra watched everything. She saw the bullies. She saw Marcus defend her son. She saw Zix lean against the human with trust. Her heart felt strange. She was the supreme commander. She had fought in wars. She had made hard decisions. But watching this simple human show more courage and love than anyone else had shown her son made her feel small. Made her feel like she had failed. But she also felt something else. Hope. For the first time in months, she felt hope. This human was doing something. He was reaching her son in ways no one else could. Valkyra watched Marcus teach Zix more signs. She watched her son learn, and she made a decision. She would keep watching. She would learn what this human was doing, and maybe, just maybe, she would understand how to help her son too. 2 months passed. Marcus and Zix met every night. The little dragon now knew over 300 signs. He could tell Marcus about his day. He could say he was hungry or tired. He could ask questions. It was not perfect, but it was communication. It was a voice. And for Zix, it was everything. For the first time in his life, someone could understand him, really understand him. But then something happened that changed everything. Zix's older brothers came to visit the academy. There were 4 of them. All big, all strong, all perfect examples of what dragons should be. They came for the academy's ascension ceremony, a special event where young dragons showed their telepathic skills to their families. It was a big honor. Every dragon family came to watch. Every dragon family except those who had children who could not perform. Valkyra arrived with her 4 older sons. They were impressive. Their scales shone like metal. Their wings were huge. When they spoke with telepathy, everyone could hear them clearly. The other families whispered about how lucky Valkyra was. 4 perfect sons. They did not mention Zix. No one ever mentioned Zix at these events. It was like he did not exist. Like he was a secret the family kept hidden. The ceremony was held in the grand hall. Hundreds of dragons gathered to watch. Marcus was there too. He had to clean the hall after the ceremony, so he stayed in the back corner with his cart and mop. He tried to be invisible, like always. But his eyes searched the crowd for Zix. He did not see him anywhere. Zix was probably hiding. Marcus's heart hurt for his friend. The ceremony began. Young dragons came forward one by one. They showed their telepathic abilities. Some could speak to multiple minds at once. Some could send images and feelings. Some could even share memories. The crowd clapped with their wings, making a sound like thunder. It was beautiful and impressive. But Marcus felt sick watching it, because he knew Zix would never be able to do any of this, and everyone here thought that made him worthless. After the ceremony, there was a gathering. Families talked and celebrated. Valkyra stood with her 4 older sons, accepting congratulations. But then one of the other matriarchs spoke loudly. "It is such a shame about your youngest," she said. Her voice was sweet, but her words were poison. "I heard he still cannot speak at all. Have you considered sending him to a colony world? Somewhere quiet where his problem will not be so obvious. It might be kinder for everyone." The hall went quiet. Everyone was listening now. Valkyra's 4 sons looked uncomfortable. One of them, the oldest, spoke up. "Yes, Mother, perhaps it would be best. He is an embarrassment to our family. We cannot keep pretending he does not exist. If he cannot be a proper dragon, maybe he should not be around other dragons." The other 3 brothers nodded in agreement. They did not say it with cruelty. They said it like it was a logical solution, like Zix was a problem that needed to be solved by going away. Somewhere in the shadows near the doorway, Zix heard everything. He had been watching the ceremony from hiding. He heard his brothers. He heard them say he was an embarrassment, that he should be sent away, that he did not belong. The words hit him like physical blows. His small body started to shake. His breathing got faster and faster. Panic filled his chest. He could not stay here. He could not listen to any more. He ran. Zix ran through the hallways. His vision was blurry with tears. He could not think. He could not breathe right. The panic was taking over. This happened sometimes when the pressure got too much. His mind would flood with fear and pain, and he could not stop it. He needed to find someplace safe, someplace where the world was not so cruel. He needed to find Marcus. But Marcus was at the ceremony. Zix ran to the observation gardens instead, to their special place. Marcus saw Zix run past the doors of the grand hall. He saw the panic in those golden eyes. Without thinking, Marcus dropped his mop. He left his cart right there in the middle of the room. He ran after Zix. People stared at him. A human running through the academy was unusual. But Marcus did not care. His friend needed him. Nothing else mattered. He ran as fast as his old legs could carry him. He found Zix in the gardens, curled up behind the stellar ferns. The little dragon was shaking all over. His breathing was too fast. His eyes were wide with fear. Marcus had seen this before with Emily. Panic attacks. They were terrifying. Marcus sat down next to Zix and did not touch him yet. First, he needed to help Zix breathe. He showed Zix the breathing pattern. In for 4 counts. Hold for 4 counts. Out for 4 counts. Marcus did it himself, slow and steady. At first, Zix could not follow, but Marcus kept doing it. Keep breathing. In and out, slowly, very slowly. Zix's breathing started to match Marcus's rhythm. The panic began to ease just a little bit. Marcus put his hand on Zix's side. He could feel the little dragon's heart beating too fast. "It is okay," Marcus signed with his other hand. "You are safe, I am here. You are not alone." But Marcus felt his own anger rising. This was not okay. None of this was okay. This little dragon was smart and kind and special. But everyone told him he was broken. Everyone made him feel like he should not exist. It was the same thing people had said about Emily, the same ignorance, the same cruelty hidden behind words like logic and kindness. Marcus was tired of it. He was tired of watching good people suffer because they were different. Marcus started talking. He did not sign. He just talked in English, knowing Zix could not understand most of the words. But sometimes you had to say things just to get them out. "I am so tired of this," Marcus said. His voice shook with emotion. "I am tired of people telling others they are not good enough. You know what? My daughter was told she would never fit in, never be normal. But she did not need to be normal. She needed to be herself. And you know what she did? She became a teacher. She teaches other kids like her. She changed lives. She proved everyone wrong." Marcus looked at Zix. "And you," he continued, "you are amazing. You learned 300 signs in 2 months. You are kind and smart and gentle. The problem is not you. The problem is them. They think there is only one way to be a dragon, one way to talk, one way to be worthy. But they are wrong. You do not need to change who you are. The world needs to change its mind about what a voice can be, about what strength can be, about what worthy means." Zix was listening. His breathing was almost normal now. He was staring at Marcus with those golden eyes. Something in Marcus's voice, in his emotion, in the pure belief in his words, reached something deep inside Zix. Something that had been locked away, something that had been trying to get out, but could not find the way. And suddenly, for the first time in his entire life, Zix felt his throat vibrate in a new way. A sound came out. It was small. It was rough. It was broken. But it was a sound, not a chirp, not a hum. A real sound, like the beginning of a word. Zix's eyes went wide with shock. Marcus froze. Did that just happen? Did Zix just make a vocal sound? Zix tried again. The sound was a little stronger this time. And then, with great effort, pushing through years of silence, Zix formed his first word. It was in broken English, barely understandable. But it was clear enough. Friend. That was the word. Friend. Zix had said friend. Marcus felt tears streaming down his face. He pulled Zix into a hug. "Oh my God," Marcus whispered. "You did it. You spoke. You actually spoke." Zix made the sound again. Friend. His voice was rough and strange, not like other dragons' voices. But it was his voice. His own voice. Something he had never had before. And it was beautiful. What Marcus did not know was that the entire grand hall had emptied out. People had seen him run after Zix. They had followed. Now dozens of dragons stood at the entrance to the gardens. They stood in the shadows watching. They had heard Marcus's words. They had heard his anger and his love. They had heard his speech about worth and voices. And they had just witnessed something impossible. The mute dragon had spoken. The broken dragon had found his voice. And a human janitor had made it happen. The lights of the observation gardens suddenly blazed bright. Marcus spun around, still holding Zix. His heart dropped. Standing at the entrance to the gardens was a crowd. Dozens of dragons, academy administrators, students, teachers. And at the front of them all stood the tallest dragon Marcus had ever seen. Her scales were pure silver. Her eyes were ancient and powerful. She wore the uniform of a supreme commander. This was Valkyra, Zix's mother. Marcus knew he was in serious trouble, but Valkyra was not looking at Marcus. She was looking at her son. Her eyes were full of emotions Marcus could not read. She walked forward slowly. Each step was careful, like she was afraid she might break something. When she reached Zix, she did something that made the entire crowd gasp. She lowered herself down. All the way down. She knelt on the ground. In dragon culture, this was huge. Leaders did not kneel, especially not supreme commanders. But Valkyra knelt before her smallest son. Zix stared at his mother. He had not seen her in months. She was always too busy, always too important. He thought she was ashamed of him. He thought she wished he did not exist. But now she was here, and she was kneeling. Valkyra reached out one claw very gently. She touched Zix's face. "My son," she said, using her voice instead of telepathy. Can you speak again? Can you show me? Her voice was soft, gentle, full of hope. Zix looked at Marcus. Marcus nodded and made the sign for it is okay. Zix took a deep breath. His throat still felt strange. The sounds were hard to make. But he tried. He looked at his mother and pushed out the word. Mother, he said. His voice was rough and broken. Nothing like the smooth voices of other dragons. But it was clear enough. He had said mother. Valkyra's eyes filled with tears. She pulled Zix close and held him. The crowd watched in complete silence. After a moment, Valkyra stood up. She looked at Marcus. You are Marcus Webb, she said. A human janitor. Marcus nodded. His throat was dry. He waited to be arrested or fired or worse. But Valkyra did something unexpected. She bowed her head to him. A supreme commander. Bowing to a human. Thank you, she said. Her voice shook. You did what all our doctors and telepaths and specialists could not do. You reached my son. You gave him a voice. How did you do this? Marcus swallowed hard. I just treated him like he mattered, Marcus said quietly. I treated him like there was nothing wrong with him. Because there is not. He does not communicate the way you expect. But that does not mean he cannot communicate. I taught him sign language. I listened to him. I saw him for who he is, not what he cannot do. Sometimes that is all anyone needs. To be seen, to be accepted. To know they are enough exactly as they are, the crowd murmured. Some dragons looked ashamed. Others looked angry. One of the academy administrators stepped forward. He was old and stern. This is inappropriate, he declared. This human had unauthorized contact with a student. He broke protocol. This is grounds for immediate termination and deportation. The human must face consequences. Other administrators nodded in agreement. Rules were rules. It did not matter that Marcus had helped Zix. He had broken the rules. Valkyra's eyes went cold. She turned to face the administrators. Her voice was hard as steel. You want to punish the one person who helped my son? The one person who succeeded where all of you failed? This human showed more wisdom and compassion than any of you. And you want to remove him? She stepped closer to the administrators. They stepped back. Do you know what I think? I think we have been wrong about many things. About humans. About what makes someone valuable. About what strength really means. Valkyra looked around at all the dragons watching. We call humans the soft species, she said. We think they are weak because they are not telepathic. Because they are not physically powerful. Because they live short lives. But this human saw a problem that we could not see. He found a solution that we could not find. He showed courage that we did not show. Maybe being soft is not a weakness. Maybe seeing the world differently is a strength. Maybe we have been blind. The head administrator was not convinced. With all respect, matriarch, he is just a janitor. One success does not change the facts. Humans are limited. They cannot do what we can do. They are suited for simple work, not complex problem solving. Letting them into higher positions would be inappropriate. The galaxy has an order. Everyone has their place. Valkyra looked at the administrator for a long moment. Then she smiled. It was not a kind smile. Tell me, she said to the administrator. How many specialists did we bring to help Zixthar? The administrator thought. 17, he said. 17 specialists. And how many succeeded? Valkyra asked. The administrator said nothing. None succeeded, Valkyra answered her own question. But one human janitor succeeded. So tell me again about limits. Tell me again about what humans can and cannot do. Tell me again about their place. Because from where I stand, this human did better than all 17 of your specialists combined. The crowd was silent. No one knew what to say. Valkyra turned to Marcus. I have a proposal for you, she said. I want to create a new position at this academy. Cultural Integration Specialist for Alternative Development. You would work with students who struggle with traditional learning methods. Students from all species. Students like my son. You would teach them other ways to communicate. Other ways to learn. Other ways to be successful. Will you accept this position? Marcus stared at her. His mind was spinning. This was not what he expected. Not at all. But then he thought about Emily back on Earth. He thought about leaving her. Not seeing her for years. This job would mean staying here. Being far from home. He opened his mouth to say no. To say he needed to go back to Earth, but then Zix made a sound. That small chirping sound. Marcus looked down at the little dragon. Zix signed to him. Please stay, friend. Marcus felt his chest tighten. He looked at Valkyra. I will accept, he said slowly, but I have conditions. Valkyra raised her head. Conditions? A human was giving a Supreme Commander conditions? This was unheard of. Marcus stood straighter. Yes, conditions. If I do this, I want other humans to get real opportunities too. Not just cleaning jobs, not just simple labor. I want humans to be hired as teachers, counselors, specialists. I want humans to be seen as equals. If you want me to help, then help my species too. The administrators looked shocked. One of them started to protest. This is ridiculous. We cannot just change centuries of policy because one human helped one student. Valkyra held up her claw for silence. You are right, she said. We cannot change policy for one success, but we can change policy when that success proves our old thinking was wrong. She looked at Marcus. I accept your conditions. I will sponsor a human integration program. Qualified humans will be given opportunities across all fields. I will make this happen. Marcus felt dizzy. This was really happening. He was going to be a teacher, not a janitor. A real teacher? And he was going to help open doors for other humans, for his whole species. It felt too big, too impossible. But Zix chirped again and leaned against him. Marcus put his hand on the little dragon's head. This was real. This was happening. And it was happening because he had chosen to be kind, because he had seen someone who needed help and he had helped them. Sometimes that was all it took to change the world. Valkyra made an announcement to the crowd. Tomorrow Zixthar will give a speech at the Academy Assembly. He will speak in his own way, using both words and signs. He will show everyone that there is more than one way to have a voice. And Marcus Webb will stand beside him as his teacher and friend. This is a new beginning. For my son, for this academy, and for how we see those who are different. The crowd did not know whether to cheer or protest, so they stayed silent and watched. That night, Marcus called Emily on his tablet. He told her everything that had happened. She cried. She laughed. She told him she was so proud. And then she told him something that made Marcus cry too. Dad, she said. I applied for the exchange program, the one that matriarch Valkyra is setting up. I am going to teach sign language to aliens. I am going to do what you did. I am going to help people communicate. We are going to change things together. Father and daughter, across the stars. The assembly hall was completely full. Every seat was taken. Dragons filled the room from floor to ceiling. They came from all over the galaxy to see something impossible. The mute dragon was going to speak. Many came to laugh. Many came to see him fail. But some came because they had children who were different too. Children who struggled. Children who did not fit. And those parents came with hope in their hearts. Marcus stood backstage with Zix. The little dragon was shaking. His golden eyes were wide with fear. There were so many people out there. So many eyes watching. So many minds waiting to judge him. What if he could not speak? What if the words did not come? What if everyone laughed? Marcus knelt down next to Zix. He put both hands on the little dragon's face and looked into his eyes. You do not have to be perfect, Marcus signed. You just have to be you. That is enough. That has always been enough. Valkyra walked onto the stage first. The crowd went silent. A supreme commander demanded respect. She stood tall and proud. Today, she began, my son will speak to you. He will not speak the way you expect. He will not use telepathy. He will use his voice and his hands. He will communicate in a new way, a human way. Some of you will think this makes him less, but I tell you now, he is not less. He is different, and different is not wrong. My son has taught me this. A human janitor has taught me this, and now I hope he will teach all of you. She stepped aside. Marcus walked onto the stage with Zix. The little dragon's legs were shaking so badly he could hardly walk. The crowd murmured. Some whispered cruel things. Look how small he is. Look how scared. This is embarrassing. But Marcus did not let Zix hear any of it. He kept his hand on Zix's shoulder and walked beside him. When they reached the center of the stage, Marcus stepped back. This was Zix's moment, not his. Zix had to do this himself. Zix stood alone in front of hundreds of dragons. He took a deep breath. His throat felt tight. The words felt stuck. But he remembered what Marcus had taught him. Breathing, control. One word at a time. Zix opened his mouth and pushed out his first word. Hello? It was rough. It was broken. But it was clear. The crowd went completely silent. The mute dragon had just spoken. He was really speaking. Zix continued, speaking slowly and carefully. My name is Zixthar. I am different. But I am still here. He paused. Then he started using sign language along with his words. His small claws moved gracefully through the air as he spoke. I could not use telepathy. Everyone said I was broken. Everyone said I would never communicate. But they were wrong. I can communicate, just not the way you do, and that is okay. There is more than one way to have a voice, more than one way to be heard, more than one way to matter. Some dragons in the crowd started to cry. Others looked ashamed. Everyone was listening now. Zix looked out at the crowd. He saw his 4 older brothers sitting with their mother. They looked uncomfortable, guilty. He spoke to them directly. My brothers said I was an embarrassment, that I should go away, that I did not belong here. His voice cracked with emotion, but he kept going. Maybe they were right. Maybe I do not belong in a world that only values one way of being. But maybe the world should change. Maybe the world should make room for people like me, for people who are different, for people who need more time, more patience, more understanding. He turned and looked at Marcus. One person believed in me, one human janitor. He did not see a broken dragon. He saw someone who needed a friend, someone who needed help, someone who needed to be heard, and he helped me find my voice. Not the voice you expected, not telepathy, but my voice, my own voice. And it is beautiful. I am beautiful, even if I am different, even if I do not fit. I am still worthy. I am still enough. And so is everyone else who has ever been told they are not. The hall erupted. Some dragons were cheering. Some were crying. Parents with different children were standing and clapping their wings together. The sound was like thunder and rain all at once. Zix stood on that stage, small and scared and brave, and he knew something had changed. Not just in him. In everyone watching. They had seen something real, something true. They had seen that different did not mean less, and some of them would never forget it. After the assembly, something unexpected happened. One by one, students came to Marcus. Not just dragons, students from every species. A centaurian who could not read. A Quillian who was afraid to fly. A Metharian who could not control their telepathy. And a Quan who could not breathe underwater like others of their kind. All of them had been hiding. All of them had been ashamed. But Zix's speech had given them courage. They wanted help. They wanted to learn different ways, and Marcus would help them all. Over the next 6 months, everything changed. Marcus set up a new program at the academy. He called it Alternative Pathways. Students who struggled with traditional methods could learn in new ways, use different tools, take more time, and no one would judge them for it. The program became famous across the galaxy. Other schools started copying it. Parents who had hidden their different children for years finally brought them forward. There was hope now. Real hope. Emily arrived from Earth 3 months later. She was now part of the human exchange program that Valkyra had created. She taught sign language to students from 12 different species. She adapted the signs to work with claws, tentacles, wings, and fins. She was brilliant at it, and every day she worked alongside her father. They had dinner together every night. They talked about their students. They laughed about the funny things that happened. They were together. Finally together. After so many years apart, Zix became something unexpected. He became a leader. Other students looked up to him. They saw his courage. They saw his kindness. They saw that he never made fun of anyone for being different because he knew how much it hurt. He helped other students who were struggling. He taught them the signs Marcus had taught him. He became a bridge between those who fit in and those who did not. And he was happy. Really, truly happy. For the first time in his life, Valkyra kept her promise. The human integration program grew. Humans were hired as teachers, counselors, medical specialists, and engineers across the galaxy. They brought new ideas, new solutions, new ways of seeing problems. And slowly, very slowly, the galaxy began to understand that the soft species was not so soft after all. They were adaptable, creative, empathetic. They saw things others missed. They solved problems others could not. They had their own kind of strength. One evening, Marcus sat in his new office. It was not fancy, but it had a window that looked out over the observation gardens. He could see Zix down there with a group of other students. The little dragon was teaching them signs. He was patient and kind. His movements were confident now. He was not the scared, lonely dragon Marcus had found behind the stellar ferns. He was strong. He was whole. He had found himself. Marcus felt tears in his eyes. Happy tears. Emily walked into the office and sat beside her father. They watched Zix together. "You did something amazing, Dad," Emily said softly. "You changed so many lives." Marcus shook his head. "I just shared a sandwich with someone who was lonely," he said. "I just treated him like he mattered." "Anyone could have done it," Emily smiled. "But no one else did. You did. That is what makes it special. You saw someone who needed help and you helped them, even though it was against the rules, even though you could have lost your job. You chose kindness, and that changed everything." Marcus looked at his daughter. Then he looked back at the gardens. Zix was laughing now. Really laughing. It was a rough croaking sound, but it was full of joy. Other students were laughing with him. They were playing a game. They were happy. All of them were happy, and Marcus realized something. He had come to this galaxy to earn money for Emily's medicine. He had taken a job as a janitor because it was all he could get. He had expected to clean floors and be invisible. But life had other plans. Sometimes the biggest changes come from the smallest moments. A sandwich shared. A hand extended. A word of kindness. Marcus had not set out to change the galaxy. He had just wanted to help one lonely dragon. But that one act of kindness had rippled outward. It had touched hundreds of lives. It had changed laws. It had opened doors for his entire species. All because he had chosen to see someone, really see them, and accept them, just as they were. Down in the gardens, Zix looked up at Marcus's window. He saw his teacher watching. He saw his friend smiling. Zix raised his claw and made a sign. The sign for thank you, then the sign for friend. Then he did something new. He opened his mouth and let out a sound. Not words this time. A roar, a real dragon roar. It was rough and imperfect and uniquely his. But it was powerful. It was strong. It was the sound of someone who had found their voice and would never be silent again. Marcus watched as other students joined Zix. They all made their own sounds. Roars and chirps and whistles and songs. Each one different. Each one special. Each one perfect in its own way. The observation gardens filled with noise. Beautiful, chaotic, joyful noise. The sound of acceptance. The sound of freedom. The sound of everyone finally being allowed to be themselves. And in that moment, Marcus knew he was exactly where he was supposed to be, doing exactly what he was supposed to do, being exactly who he was supposed to be. A teacher, a friend, a human who had shown the galaxy that different was not wrong. It was just different. And different was